Everybody. My name is Ann Baker, and I'm a certified Pilates instructor, yoga instructor, personal trainer, and group fitness instructor, former dragon boat paddler, competitive league, and now retired from that, teaching full-time and enjoying paddling in SUP and outrigger. I was talking to the folks at Dragon Boat Canada recently, and we were discussing issues that might come up when people really get back into the boat, dragon boat, this summer 2022 after being off for a couple of years. And we thought that maybe shoulders would be a good thing to start with, considering we're going to get back in there and really get into our workouts and our training and competitions. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a program to go through here that has a pattern to it that done consistently can help with your shoulders. However, if you're currently experiencing any kind of shoulder issue, it's not going away, I've had a dislocation, anything that needs medical attention, this program is not the right one for you. You'd be better off to go to chiropractor, massage therapist, physiotherapist, osteopath, your family doctor, any one of those that can assess you and then give you a good program from where you're starting from. If you've come out of that phase and you're looking for a program to do on a regular basis, this is for you. I'm going to divide this into a few different phases. Number one, your breathing. When we talk about your shoulders, we're talking about the arm bone, the collarbone, and the shoulder blades. They sit on the rib cage, and our lungs and diaphragm are in there too. So how we breathe, how we use those muscles affects the shoulders. High chest breathing, not as easy to get the stability we need for the shoulders. And we'll talk a little bit about the spine and the ribs that come off that spine that your shoulders sit on, known as your thoracic spine. Okay? Then we'll talk about the shoulder blades and we'll finish up with the shoulders. So it's a short program and it's one of many that you could do. It may work for you, it may not. It's definitely something that's been helpful for myself and my own clients. Okay, so let's get started with your breathing. I've got a TheraBand here, a nice wide one, and I'm going to wrap it around the base of my rib cage because that's where my diaphragm lives. Okay. Hard to feel the diaphragm, but it is under the ribs. It's a dome-shaped muscle, like a big mushroom cap. I'm going to bring that band around, hold it lightly, but I know that it's there. And then take 2 to 3 breaths in. See if you make contact with the band all the way around. Okay. Let's do that one more time. Take a breath in. Does it go to the back side of your ribs? Sometimes it just ends up pushing the front ribs forward. Okay. So we want to get your breath to the back of the rib cage because the diaphragm lives back there and has attachments down the front of your lower back spine. Okay. So one more time, low back ribs on your inhale. And then when you exhale, just gently feel the ribs funnel their way down. Pull the band in a little bit. You may notice a little bit of belly get involved. Last one, breath in. Widen your rib cage, kind of like an umbrella opening up. And then exhale. Let the ribs draw in and create a funnel effect. Close the umbrella and the ribs pull down, the back, the sides, the front, toward your hips, and the belly draws in a little bit. Okay. Take the band off. Now, that's not the only thing that happens when we breathe in. It does go into the belly. It also goes into the lower back, the movement of the breath, because the diaphragm is dropping down. It also goes down to the floor of the pelvis, the deep abdominal muscles. So when we're relaxed, that deep side of the rib cage, back of the rib cage, inhale, down into the lower back, pelvis, belly, and then the exhale, letting the ribs funnel down, creating a little bit of support, and and maybe taking some strain off your lower back. Okay. If we don't breathe that well and that deeply, you have a high chest breath, it leaves the muscles of the upper chest and shoulders overactive. Okay, so part one, practicing your breathing. Number two is what we call the thoracic spine. So that's the spine that curves outward. Doesn't really, for me, mine's a bit flat. Yours might be a bit rounded. So that's something to consider. What's the shape of your spine in that region? And that's something that a chiropractor or physio can give you a good indication of. Okay, so that upper back movement. So let's do a few movements here. Glasses off. And we'll just start with a little bit of side bending. Now that the camera's all focused again. A little bit of side bending. Remember, I'm talking about the rib cage spine. So from the shoulder, collarbone, down the sides of the waist. I'm not trying to push down too much. Okay, just a little bit of side bend. Okay. We want to keep those abdominals in front a little bit engaged. If they let go, tends to shorten my lower back. So I'm just going to draw in a little bit here. And that feels nice around the sides of the ribs. Yeah, and you can feel maybe the shoulder. Yeah, if you have anything that needs a little bit of space up there at collarbone, just a little bit of traction and gravity with that. Okay, now as I do this, I'm just going to tuck a hand behind my head. So that gives a little more stretch up there through some of the lats. Yeah, try it both ways. And then I'll switch over. As long as you're breathing in, we won't worry about which side gets an inhale or an exhale. I'm breathing in and out on a regular basis. Okay, and then I'm going to put both hands behind my head so I know that my head's in line with my spine. I've got the belly pulled in a little bit. Okay, and you can do these as suits you. I like to say 6 to 8, but you're more interested in finding out how you're doing it rather than just a number. Okay, how is your body moving? So side bending, and then coming straight up, we're going to do a little bit of extension from the high chest and upper back, not from your lower back or head. So just a little bit of elbows forward, let your collarbones and your top of your breastbone lift. That's all. And bring yourself back to the center and just tip the head and the upper back just between those shoulder blades at the top. And then back into extension. Don't let the ribs pop out. Just keep this the same. Lift the high chest. And forward. Collarbone's going to roll down. And they roll up. We'll do one more. High chest lifts. Elbows reach. Belly stays in. Come back to center. Take your nose down. Let your collarbones roll down like eyes closing. And then back to center. Side bending, some extension, some flexion. And now let's put those into some circles. And you're going to keep those circles pretty high. So nothing below the ribs. Think about it as the top of the shoulder blades and just below your collarbones. Okay. Good. You probably have a favorite direction you started in, so we'll change the direction. Okay. If one side feels like it needs more attention, then you can spend time doing a few more circles in that direction. Okay, just that upper spine, top of shoulder blade region. Good, so we've been to the side, we've been to the front and the back. Now we're going to add a little bit of rotation. And I'm not going to let the hips turn yet. Okay, so the thoracic spine, out of all those movements, rotation is what it's built for. And that's for walking, sorry, not for paddling. Okay, so being able to let the spine turn in between your shoulder blades. I'm going to bring the hands down across the collarbones now. Yeah, do the same thing. No hips. I know you're supposed to drive the hip forward. But when you think about walking, it's the rotation of your T-spine, taking it to the hips. So that's where we'll go next. When you take your hands out front, okay, palms together, you just turn them up. I'm going to turn to the side. Okay, and you're going to draw one arm back. Keep your shoulder going with you. Turn forward like a bow and arrow. So draw the arm back, including your shoulder, and let your hips turn. Forward, back. Good. And this is a real spiral. Okay, we're trying to get that rib cage spine to do its job. Feel the shoulder blades stay on the rib cage. And we'll just add a little bit to it. Reach the arm out and come back. Good. Try to keep the shoulder in the socket is the name of the game. The arm bone in the socket or in the blade. Good. Let's do one more on each side after this. Okay. And you may notice there's a side that you're turning to better. Out. That could be an inhale. Come back. Will be an exhale. Pull. Inhale. Come back. Exhale. Good. Just drop the arms. Let them swing a few times. You can bend your knees. Right. And then let the arms alternate. Okay. Good. Like a cross-country skiing action or an exaggerated walking action. Awesome. Okay. So that's the movements of our thoracic spine. It's built to rotate, but it does the other ones as well. We can get it rotating well in both directions, and that makes a big difference to how our shoulder blades sit and move on the thoracic spine. So let's get to the shoulder blades. What do? They elevate and they depress. And they elevate. So that can be your inhale. And they come down. Don't force them down. You don't have to put them in your back pockets. Just let them glide up and glide down. Elevation, breathing in, exhale, come down. So where you might start to notice differences between the shoulder blades, okay? You take your hands back out front again, leave the fingers together, and try to take the shoulder blades apart, okay? I'm not rounding the spine on this. I'm gonna move the shoulder blades apart and then back together. So apart, my ribs and belly pulled in a bit. That's called protraction. Okay, and this is retraction. Notice I'm not using the elbows. They can be a little bent. Okay, protraction. Now, depending on the shape of your ribs and spine, you might need more of one than the other. And everyone I know has been told to draw your shoulder blades back, which may be helpful. Okay. A lot of us need to learn to bring them forward because they connect through something called serratus anterior into your obliques. And your obliques help you rotate when you paddle. Okay, so shoulder blades forward, protraction, shoulder blades back, retraction. Good. Going to separate the hands, lift and lower. Good. Trying not to have my ribs poke forward or my head poke forward. So just a lift, down. Okay, one more, up, breath in, and down. Okay, and then out of the sides, up we go. Okay, now you could lift your shoulder blades, but you don't have to. Okay, so this is where things get a little fuzzy sometimes. This is a rotation of my shoulder blade, upward, and downward. Okay, my arms are not behind me. I'm not trying to pull my blades back. Just up the sides, breath in and down. Okay, so last one for that. We'll bring them up and then down the front. One more time, up the front, or up the sides and down the front. Okay, and then swing them again and see how they're feeling. Okay, what information are you getting from the movements that you've done? How are your tissues moving? Alternate that little knee bend. Okay, see if things feel a little bit freer. Okay, so that's the blade actions: elevation, depression, protraction, retraction, okay? And then upward rotation, downward rotation, okay? You need to move in the pattern that your arms move, right? So if you're lifting a high hand up, the shoulder blade follows that, and we're rotating, the shoulder blade follows that, okay? If you sit on one side in a dragon boat and that's the only side you paddle on, your body's going to get used to that shape of the tissues for that movement, okay? So we need to do both sides. Okay, so the last bit, the rotator cuff, the shoulder itself. Okay, we're going to start with a little bit of rotation, your hands, your elbows, your shoulders, external, internal. I used to think that always having the palms out, stretching that was a good idea. And then one day I realized I needed more internal rotation. So don't assume that it's just the best idea for you to just stretch them open. And maybe they want a little bit of internal rotation as well. Let's start to lift as we rotate. Right, so we're going from your rotator cuff now, we're moving the shoulder blade. Okay, and if you feel pain anywhere, strain, you're gonna stop and take your arms back down. If you can lift them, let's say to the height that you would lift the top of your paddle. Okay, and then we'll go back down. Down, down, down. There we go. Okay, so see if that works. The muscles all have different lines of pull. All right, maybe something doesn't work quite as well as you start to lift higher. 2, 4, all right. And that would be something you want to check into. Okay, so I'm going to have my palms forward. I'm going to take one hand, rotate it back. One behind the head, one behind my tailbone, lower back. So I have both internal rotation and external. And then as they come out, they'll just switch. Arms out, switch, out, switch, out, switch. Shoulders also have a huge connection to the opposite glute, opposite hip. All right, so if that resonates with you, you may find, oh, one shoulder doesn't feel so good, maybe the opposite hip doesn't. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Okay, so last one here. And then we'll just let them come down. Okay, see how they feel. Give the arms a bit of a swing. Bend the knees, let your arms alternate a few times. Okay, and then I always suggest people do two things. Take a breath in. And see how that feels. What moves, what opens, what closes, what supports you. Okay? And then go for a walk. Okay, because that's really what we're built to do. That's what the shoulders are meant to get that movement, yeah, from the rib cage spine and have it translate down to your opposite hip. So go for a walk, see how that feels. A lot of this can be done on the floor. It's easier to show it in standing, but you could do a lot of that lying down on the floor if that's more comfortable for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I can be reached at my email, which I believe will be listed via the newsletter, bakerford@simpatico.ca, or just reach out on Facebook, Ann Baker on Facebook, make contact, let me know what your questions are, and thanks for watching. Hope your shoulders feel better. Bye for now.